welcome to the first episode of ICSI presents the 44th National Convention of Company Secretaries. Over the next half hour, we will take you through some of the key highlights of the event. The three-day event took place in Mahatma Mandir, Gandhinagar in Gujarat. The main theme of the event was powering governance, empowering stakeholders, company secretaries, the governance professional. On today's show, we will take you through the key moments of the first day of the convention. Take a look.
This is the 44th National Convention of Company Secretaries, and we are delving on a very powerful subject, that is powering governance, empowering stakeholders.
Main objective or purpose of this convention is to let's find out the new ways of the governance, what globally happening on the governance, what are the new concepts that we are adopting in the corporate as far as this governance is concerned.
It's very well organized event, and I must congratulate Mamta Binani ji, the president of Institute of Company Secretaries.
This is an unforgettable venue. I consider this as an architectural marvel.
The Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Vijay Bhai Rupani, inaugurated the convention, followed by renowned members of the government sharing their views on the theme of the event. Let's take a look at some of the key speeches from the event.
Friends, it's a matter of immense pride and pleasure for me to introduce the theme of this 44th National Convention of Company Secretaries is powering governance, empowering stakeholders, CS the role of governance professionals. Friends, I know governance, good governance, corporate governance is very close to the heart of company secretaries. Sir, I say, rather we are the true brand ambassadors to promoting and protecting this governance, good governance and corporate governance. So certainly, it's not a new concept. It's not an alien concept, rather I say. But friends, still there is a need for a research, there is a need for further study. And particularly, there is a need to revisit our ancient system of governance and administration. So friends, in the Vedic period, we have a set system of governance, we have a set system of administration. Like in the book, Kautilya's Arthashastra, to whom I say it's a Bible, Gita, for the Arthashastra, for the governance, what Kautilya says, the happiness of the subject is the happiness of a king. The king doesn't have his own happiness. Once again, I'm thankful to Honorable Chief Minister for sparing his valuable time. Thank you, friends.
Let me just quickly put some of my thoughts in a form of a small narrative that I read somewhere, which probably is going to convey what I really want to say. If you visualize a chessboard, friends, I'm sure we've all seen if you have not played. In that chessboard, in the first line, we see 8 pieces, right? And we see a king and a queen. Have you ever noticed that they are the power centers? But one big handicap that comes with these power centers are they are born to their nature, they live by their nature, and they die by their nature. Let me go to the second row of the chessboard. The second row have pawns. These 8 pawns. Pawns are the common man. That is you and me, all of us. And these pawns are born to their nature, but they have the ability to transcend their nature. They have the ability to lift above what they are born into. And that is you and me, friends. And because of this transcending nature, because of the nature to build on our capabilities, we are able to reach to the square of the king and the queen very fast. The narrative of the story says that we are just 6 steps away from achieving greatness. Friends, you and me have the capability to transcend ourselves because we are those people who can control our own lives. Let us unleash our potential. Let us unleash our powers within us. Let us get into the spirit of the pond. And believe me, friends, the world is opening up so much and it is welcoming us with open arms, which has been never there before. Thanks a lot.
India is transforming at a phenomenal pace under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister and his cabinet of ministers. The country is overwhelmed with initiatives taken by the government like Jan Dhan Yojana, Bharat Nirman, direct benefit transfer, Skill India, Smart Cities, Startup India, Make in India, demonetization, etc., to eliminate corruption, build infrastructure, and promote transparency and accountability, and thereby ensuring ease of doing business. The regulatory framework is changing like never before, with new company law already in force, fresh towards digital economy, and GST law soon to be implemented. You as professional would play an instrumental role in ensuring compliance of these new laws by the stakeholders. We in the industrial sector always have and will continue to seek your support and guidance for a smooth transition into new regime. I wish this convention a grand success. Thank you.
It's my honor and privilege to be addressing this august audience at the plenary session of the 44th National Convention of Company Secretaries. I'm particularly excited by the very topical theme of the convention around powering governance. The sector and industry that I represent, financial services in general and exchanges in particular, stand on the very pillar of trust. And what better way of building this trust than encouraging and empowering all stakeholders to strengthen the governance mechanism underpinning financial institutions. I am sure over the next 3 days, there would be great path-breaking and brainstorming ideas that you would explore and discuss, and I wish each one of you great success over these 3 days. Thank you, ICSI, again for this opportunity, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I am, in fact, aware of two kinds of professionals. I am aware of quite a few professions, but I know two professionals. One is called governance professional, other is called insolvency professional. Fortunately, I am associated with the development and regulation of these two professionals. Importance of these professionals, these two kinds of professionals particularly, is increasing in the recent years, given that we have increasing organized economic activity. When I talk about increasing, this is absolute necessity to have organizations, otherwise we can't have growth. Organizations make 1 + 1 = 11, or in Adam Smithian sense, 2 persons can produce 20 pins a day, but if you engage 10 persons, they can produce 18,000 pins a day.
देश के कोने कोने से आए हुए कंपनी सेक्रेटरीज के इस 44वां अधिवेशन में गुजरात की पूज्य महात्मा गांधी सरदार की धरती पर पहले तो मैं आप सबका हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। जिस तरीके से मैं बीच में सब पूछ रहा था कि मेरे लिए तो ये नई बात है, मेरा विषय भी नहीं है, फिर भी मैं जानकारी के लिए पूछ रहा था। तो कंपनी सेक्रेटरीज, हमारी कैबिनेट मिलती है, मंत्रिमंडल है, तो उसमें जिस तरीके से चीफ सेक्रेटरी और कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी, उनका जो रोल है वही रोल आप सबका है। क्योंकि लोगों में एक तो मान्यता तो है कि भाई राज तो सेक्रेटरी ही चलाते हैं, लेकिन आपके यहां नहीं होता है, मुझे मालूम है, क्योंकि आपको सैलरी कंपनी दे रही है। फिर भी आपकी भूमिका बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि कंपनी कानून से चले, कंपनी ठीक चले, रूल्स और रेगुलेशन से चले, उनकी एजेंडा, मीटिंग, मिनट्स, ये सब अच्छी तरह से चले, तभी कंपनी ठीक चलेगी। एक नया युग शुरू हो रहा है प्रामाणिकता का पर्व है और ईमानदारी का उत्सव है ये। तो उसमें हम सब साथ में मिलकर इस देश की करवट बदलने में कामयाब हो। फिर से मैं सरकार की ओर से, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ गुजरात की ओर से इस अधिवेशन के लिए, सफलता के लिए शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। धन्यवाद। भारत माता की जय।
That was some insightful thoughts shared by the speakers. It's time for a short break. But before we go into break, here are a few glimpses of what's coming up after the break.
Today,
Welcome back to the first part of the ICSI 44th National Convention of Company Secretaries. Now, the convention featured an informative panel discussion on the topic Looking Glass to 2022, India at 75 and Role of Professionals. The main focus of the discussion was to crystal gaze into India's future and assess its growth trajectory. Here are some snippets from the panel discussion.
My task is to really talk about the economy, the likely scenario for the year 2022. I think it's very important for us to understand that India has been passing through a very remarkable turnaround, a very remarkable kind of dynamic phase, where after independence, we have been consistently and constantly experiencing the acceleration in growth. It was after the crisis, if I consider the period from 2007-8 to something like 2016-17, on an average, our growth rate has been maintained at almost 7%. We have not been able to accelerate. That is the major failure on our side. What we are now looking at is a further acceleration. And what is important to understand is that whenever we have embraced the economic policy reforms with clear vision and commitment, our growth rate has always accelerated.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on this fascinating subject, what India will look like in 2022 in the context of the CS profession, and particularly what foreign investment in the mode of joint ventures and collaborations will look like. Firstly, that Make in India and Digital India are all part of your job. They are not some separate government effort. They are what you do. You are at the heart of governance. Governance are at the heart of whether or not these programs will succeed. Secondly, your clients will come to see corporate compliances as just one part of the compliance of everything. And I want you to think about this phrase, the compliance of everything, because all around the region I'm seeing the compliance organisations certifying themselves, expanding their reach, doing new and innovative things. And if your job's going to be the Companies Act 2013, as important as it is, it's going to be a small piece of a very big puzzle. Thirdly, anticipate that your job will become more complex, and if you don't step up, someone else will. And I think the takeaway has to be for 2022, ladies and gentlemen, step up and lead. Thank you very much.
So what is the role that the company secretaries, both practicing company secretaries and the company secretaries working as executives, would have to play in the field of, as a matter of fact, mergers and acquisition? Ordinarily, a secretary is expected to be a compliance professional. But I would take a view that the Companies Act 2013 wants you to go far beyond being a compliance professional. You are now being asked to compete with chartered accountants and cost accountants in a large number of activities. You are happy that now you can practice before National Company Law Tribunal and winding up mergers, amalgamations, reductions, matters pending before the High Court or Company Law Board, Regional Director, etc. They will all move now to one forum, NCLT. So far, company secretaries are not permitted to practice in the cream area of mergers, acquisition, and winding up. It's a matter of great pride to be able to practice there, but please ensure that unless as a professional, the company secretaries acquire the skill that would be necessary to be able to do successfully well there, the benefit which the government gives, the privilege which the legislature confers on you may not really be fully absorbed. You are going to compete with the chartered accountants. You are going to compete with the big four. They have large skill set available to their command. You need to join hands and or be mentally and intellectually be ready enough to be able to practice there.
After the panel discussion, a special cultural program was organized featuring singer and performer Bhumik Shah. The entire star cast of the Gujarati hit movie Passport joined Bhumik to sing covers of some popular songs. Day 2 of the convention started on a spiritual note with yoga guru Sangeeta Thawani hosting a yoga session on the banks of the Sabarmati River. She taught the company secretaries attending the session a few yoga positions to help them relieve stress. This was truly a tranquil experience.
Today we started the day with yoga, and it gives me pleasure to mention that Ministry of Ayush has been our supporting partner in this initiative of yoga. Why am I saying this is because we are not only delving into the subjects of economy, finance and legal, but also holistic development is what is in our agenda.
After the yoga session, Gaur Gopal Das, an electrical engineer turned life coach, enlightened people on spirituality and how to counter stress in their daily lives.
It's a great pleasure to be with all of you and discuss this subject towards a meaningful life. I think it's a very crucial and an important topic to discuss. How do we lead a better life? How do we lead a more meaningful life? Everyone's looking for secrets, isn't it? Can you tell us those secrets by which we can have a better life, a happier life, a more satisfied life? I must say, we began by discussing life is a journey between B and D, and in between B and D is a C, which is our choice. We can choose to lead a different life. The takeoff is not in our control, the landing is not in our control, the turbulence is not in our control, our choices are. And we discussed 3 sutras. Number 1, don't just go through life, grow through life. Your external growth must be proportionate to your internal growth, and if you neglect your internal growth, breakdown is certain today or tomorrow. Secondly, don't just try to prove, try to improve, because in improving, you will automatically prove to the world who you are and what your potential is. And thirdly, whenever there is a setback, sit back. There is a silver lining to every cloud. Ladies and gentlemen, these thoughts sound very good. They're easier said than done. But when we have company of like-minded individuals who are trying to live by these ideals, we will also tread that path. And yes, then life will be a meaningful life. Otherwise, it's just going through life, not growing through. Thank you all very, very much for your kind attention, and wish to thank all the organizers very, very much for having invited me over.
With that, we have come to the end of the first episode on ICSI 44th National Convention of Company Secretaries. Do tune in next week to watch the concluding part of the convention. We now leave you with a glimpse of what you can expect to see next week.
Same process. To draw your sketch.
On
unfortunately